Whew. Get a lot of nervous energy. You guys got goosebumps? Whew. All right. Welcome to that conference 2018. Hell yeah. For those watching on the old internets and the Facebooks, welcome as well. So I woke up at 3:30 this morning. I've been thinking about this 30 minutes, or the next 30 minutes, for about 6 months, really about 12. And I woke up at about 3:30, came down here, sat over there, was banging away on some slides. I didn't like what it said, so I hit delete. So we're going to go rogue. And I'm not talking Star Wars rogue, I mean Clark Sell rogue. So, let's start with the introduction. My name is Clark Sell, for you new campers. How many new campers do we have? Let's give those guys and girls a round of applause. With my lovely wife and 2 kids, I live in a small country town called Spring Grove on the Illinois-Wisconsin border. I'm going to leave all Bears jokes out of the equation this year. I feel like we've grown up and matured, and we've fired our coach. Like all of you, I write code. My wife and I run a couple businesses. We spend 365 days out of the year planning this thing, along with a bunch of other volunteers. If you've been around, you can find me there. If you've been around, you know that we start this whole ordeal with the power pose. And so after I deleted all of the slides, I realized that many of you are, 1, new to this, and 2, have not been part of this power pose. And so it's really hard to depict a picture of the power pose without showing one. So we only have 2 more slides. Everybody stand up. So Amy Cuddy, you all have to stand there like Superman. Get your hands out of your pocket. Nice try. So I'm a big fan of Amy Cuddy. I actually tried to get her here this year. But when I said that conference, she said, "What conference?" And the conversation kind of ended there. But the whole point about some of the research, and go out to TED and watch her talk about it, is that standing in this pose lowers your stress levels, gets you in a better mindset, and everything that's about to happen. And it's important for me as you stand around and you look at one another. 7 years ago when I stood up here, we had about 350 people, maybe 400. Today, there's 1,700 people in the Kalahari Resort that is here to attend that conference. There's roughly 1,100 of you in this room right now. It's going to be tight the next few days. I understand. This is why we asked the Kalahari to build another 130,000 square feet over there. Let's just pray it's done on time and we get to use it next year. Last year I started with a bit of gratitude. And this year's no different. I would like to say thank you for everything that every one of you do day in and day out. Your participation in your communities, the user groups that you go to, the meetups that you go to, the stuff that you do to lift one another up. All of you are here. You've taken a step that most don't take. There's over 60-some-odd thousand software professionals in the kind of upper Midwest area. There's 1,100 of you here. What happened to the other 58,900 and 900? When you walked in, we gave each of you a heart, assuming you came through the front door and not the back door. We gave each of you a heart. Anybody know what that's for? Does anybody know what it is? Yeah, I didn't either at first. Good. You're going to learn something today. At least one thing. The heart's called a brad. And the brad is meant to be, I haven't checked in yet, so I don't have a badge. Is meant to be kind of poked through like your lanyard or through the plastic, and then it folds around on the back. So, one of the things that we did this past year was start a podcast. And at the end of the podcast, every time, I offer a bit of gratitude to the person who's on the other end of the microphone. And what I've learned is that over this time, people get super uncomfortable, although feel really good when you say something nice about them. I know we've all worked on sprint teams and this and that where it's deadlines are looming and things get crazy and negative emotions, and we can be on Twitter and see the passive-aggressive garbage that happens out there. But I want to do different. So I gave each of you a Brad. And what I'd like you to do is find somebody and extend a bit of gratitude in this audience and pass it along to them, whoever it is. And it's going to be hard, which is why you're standing in this power pose. Now, I'm not asking you to do it now, but think about it. Because the point of being here for the next few days is about all of you. I think of that conference as this stool. If any one of the legs breaks, it doesn't work. If we don't have attendees, there's no point of having speakers. If we don't have speakers, there's nothing for attendees to listen to. If we don't have sponsors, we don't have money. If we don't have organizers, we don't have a venue. Like, none of this stuff works without one another. Does that make sense? Will everybody try to do that? Please? That was super underwhelming. Let's fix that. Okay, you can sit down. Thank you. So, now that we're feeling good, the goosebumps are gone. Usually I say, I challenge all of you to say, why are you here? Why did you come? Why did you get into software development? What do you want to learn? Make yourself feel uncomfortable. Don't go to the same thing that you already know. Go to something else. Give you all those challenges. Well, every year, my wife and I get into contracts and stuff with the Kalahari and, what are we doing? And the size of the audience gets better. And last year when we left, we started asking ourselves the question, why are we here? Why are we doing what we're doing, and are we doing the right service of all of you, or by all of you? We've gotten so caught up in the execution of an event. Can we get the plates out on time? Is the seating? Is the moments? This and that and whatever. But none of that means nothing. So, for the last 364 days, we've flipped things around to try to focus more, better, deeper on the community. How can we take the platform that you all have come to be part of and make it bigger and better? How can we make this here today for the next 3 days the highest velocity conversation, the reunion, if you will, of the other 362 days? Because I don't want it to end when you leave. We all together are stronger and better together than we are as individuals. So much has happened to me over the past 7 years from the relationships that I've met through all of this that it would be a disservice not to have that every day. So we've tried to focus on that. We've started a Medium publication where we want all of you to write. We've started a podcast where we want to tell all of your stories. And we've been doing this day in and day out, along with changing things that we'll talk about here in a second. So, I want to show a video. Part of the reason I deleted things, I don't want to do that. No. That would be a problem. Bird? We did tech. There was a couple guys in here earlier today, and we did tech checks. I promise. So, we don't have an audio cable. Why we're getting some audio ran. So we started this podcast. At the end of every one of these podcasts, almost all of them, we started asking one question of everybody. And part of the reason that I hit delete this morning is I have all this built up in my head about what this could be, where we could go. How can somebody over here meet somebody over there? How does the family fit into this? If everybody from the middle of this camera this way, stand up. Just from right down this row. Yep. That's roughly how many spouses and kids are here today, but not here. I mean, here, but not here. So look, that's 600 people. There's 350 some odd kids and 275 spouses or 250 spouses. You can sit down. We have like a responsibility to create this exposure for them. I want them in here. The kids that are in here today are speakers. We have more family speakers today than we've had in years past. We have 165 speakers. We took on 50 more speakers this year than we have in years past. We took the beloved Open Spaces room and doubled it. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Okay. Inside of Open Spaces, I've added something called a Makerspace. We have whiteboards to be used. We have TVs to be hooked into. We have electricity ran throughout. It wasn't there yesterday, but it's there now. We have electricity ran throughout. We built 3 new boards that won't fall off the wall that we can put stickies on. I've got a soldering station. Solder, you say? Will you zoom in on this? Oh, we switched drivers. Ooh. You want to see our stage crew get really weaselly? Okay, whoops, back in frame. Whoa. Okay, so we had, I've got 300 custom PCBs made. They're disassembled. We're going to put out 100 a day in the back of the Open Spaces room that you can put together. They're for all of you, well, not all of you, but lucky 300. If you want to know how we could get to 1,100, help us with sponsorships, just saying. Bring your kids over. Take one, fill out the waiver, try not to burn the place down, and make one. I think we have audio. So, are we good with audio? Okay. So, in my mind, for the last 365 days, we've thought about the additional 130,000 square feet, the moments that happen around here. How can we make your network better? How can we take that unstructured conversation that happens in open spaces and link it to the structured conversations that happens with the speakers? How can we take all of that and then use it for good the other 363 days out of the year? Does that sound like a decent plan? But something kept eating at me. I was invited, I try to do a lot of coaching around community and how to build better teams and then write a bunch of software. And so I got invited to an event, and we kept using the same word, and that word was community. And it dawned on me that word was not being used in the same context. For me, it means all of this. For them, it meant succession planning and ROI and all this other stuff, which got me asking this question: what does it really mean?
How would you define...
No audio.
How would you define community?
Before I go any further, nobody knew I did this. So thank you for all of you that are in here that are in this. Surprise.
How would you define community? How would you define community?
Man, that's a great question. And I wish you'd have told me 2 days ago you're going to ask me that.
How would you define community, and what does it mean to you?
Oh, this is a good question. I haven't thought about it.
Yeah, that's a really interesting question. How do I?
Um,
God, that's really fun.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good one.
Ooh, okay. So community to me is
You know, it's almost like if you're in church, and how do you define church? Is it a place you go? Is it something that you experience? And
I think of community as my closest friends.
The first word that popped into my head was opportunity.
I think the first thing I think about is empathy.
Probably support.
People who are willing to share and help each other.
Community is finding your people.
My definition of community is everybody.
Relationships are more important than any given person, any given entity, any given organization. And that's what I love about any communities, specifically the communities that I'm in, the developer communities. When we get together and share things, some magic happens.
Community is one of those things that actually made software more accessible.
I think it's the people that I interact with on a daily basis. It's not just when you go to the coffee shop and you see the barista that makes your coffee, but it's the people that you have an ongoing, consistent relationship with, that you say hi to in the morning, that you actually say, hey, how are you doing? That you're willing to sit down and have a cup of coffee with, have a beer with.
I don't know, it's super important to me because, like I mentioned, I feel grateful for where I'm at in my career. My problem now is I can't say no problem. I want to go to this meetup group over here to show them that, you know, I'm a woman and I can do this too. Or if there's women that go there, to be like, you have support. We're all here together, just to be an example, someone to reach out to. I think it all boils down to me is just support.
The medium doesn't matter. We can have communities online, we can have communities offline. It's whatever you use to share knowledge. And it's whatever you use to kind of learn from each other, give back, and build a family that believes in the same things that you do. Maybe not necessarily the same views. It's perfect to have differences.
I think community is a group of people that provide support and criticism, appropriate criticism, because they're invested in seeing something grow and become better than it is. And sometimes that means being humbled and taking a step back, and sometimes that means stretching yourself beyond what you think you can do to get to that next level.
For me personally, I like to go out and help and grow people. So I like to go out there. My kids, have grown up here in Northeast Wisconsin, and, the better that I think there's opportunities and jobs and the ability to connect, becomes an important part for why a community is vibrant and evolves. And I think part of doing that is, making sure that people feel confident in what they're doing, or imparting skill and helping them grow into the person that they want to be.
I was an oddball, right? Growing up, I was a girl who liked Star Wars and liked video games and got made fun of it. And then when I finally found people who loved the things that I did, there's no better feeling in the world. Like, it's Maslow's hierarchy. It's that feeling of acceptance. And so community is finding your people. When
I go to my meetings and things, I'm hanging out with a group of people that think like I do, that face the same challenges that I do, that I can truly relate to. And so when I go to conferences and I hang out with other speakers or attendees or whatever, there's a real connection there.
To me, community is having other people walking their paths with you. Maybe not the same paths, but somebody else who's on the same kind of journey, and you can support each other in the journey.
My biggest takeaway is, you know what? It's great to consume knowledge and read what you can and watch videos and build your home lab and this stuff. But I think if we're really going to be successful, we need to do it together. And we need to, quite honestly, do shows like this, Clark, and share and give back. It's a bi-directional. It's not a unidirectional thing when I think about community. So the more you can give back, the better off we'll all be.
I think it's so wonderful every time that I go to one of those meetups and I meet somebody new who doesn't have, like, who may not be in the community yet, but, like, they are interested in Raspberry Pis, and they find this meetup, and they go to the meetup around Raspberry Pi, and then they find other people, and then I think about how many jobs and how many friends I've known who have gotten jobs or connections to jobs through the people that they've met through the community.
They are folks that, even if I haven't seen them in a long time, when you see them again, you know, you feel that instant connection, that you know, as if not a whole lot of time has actually passed.
It's opened up these possibilities through, I like to build things and I like to put them on the internet and show people. And through that, I've had these doors open to be connected to people, you know, people like you, people like Robin, people like, you know, I've met like people who build the internet, you know, like the Apollo team, React team. And I'm sitting down talking to these people who are having an enormous influence on the way the internet is going. And really the only reason I'm doing that is because I got on the internet and started sharing. And I think that's what it is for me. It's a door. And it's just kind of boundless possibility as long as you're willing to put yourself out there and say hi.
That hit home with a few people? I picked on Casey a little bit, Keith Casey. He didn't really say that many times. That's why we do this. We didn't start that conference to be event organizers. We don't do it in our spare time because we want to run a giant event at a water park. We've been here since Thursday. I haven't even seen my kids. We do it because of those stories. So I have an ask of you. At 9 o'clock, that video is going to post. And what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to pull out your cell phone, record a 30, 60-second clip, post it to whatever social media, tag us, and put a hashtag called #ThatCommunity. And tell everybody what it means to you. Can we do that? Everybody has a slightly different variation of it. And I want the people who are actively involved in making it better to spread the word. So I'd be forever grateful if you guys would do that, guys and girls. All right, switching gears a little bit. Last year we started this mentoring program. And there was a number of conversations that happened throughout the year, and we're going to continue that this year, but a little bit differently. And so in the open spaces room, you may have noticed that there's some black tablecloths. Those black tablecloths are, I'll give another example. Has anybody seen the teenage girl in Indiana who built the buddy bench, the yellow bench to be put at a school? Right on. We put at school. Anybody who doesn't have a friend to play with or is looking for a new friend can go sit down at the buddy bench. I think it's called the buddy bench. Super fantastic. Like, let's go support that girl. Similar concept. Black tablecloths. You would like to talk to somebody. You would like to mentor somebody or be mentored in whatever it is. There's some black tablecloth tables. Sit down at it. Let's make a new buddy. Easy enough. I want to continue that mentoring thing that we started last year and that's happened the last 365 days. Few housekeeping items. Some schedule changes have happened. There's been some family-related things have gone on for a few speakers, so let's keep them in our thoughts. So there's been a few changes. The TVs are up. This year we have new signs outside of each of the rooms, wherever they are over that way. They should be right. Let's hope. We'll try to keep it up to date. If you put your profile information in on thatconference.com and you add your mobile number, any session that you favorited, if we change it on you, you'll get an update that says, hey, this has changed, this is where it was, and this is where it's going. It's in Slack. Feel free to join our Slack group. That's slack.thatconference.com. Try to do the best. The schedule in the printed program was wrong about 3 minutes after we printed it. So I think we're going to refactor that one next year. We talked about Makerspace already. We're going to kick off open spaces during lunch. So that'll happen at the back half of lunch. Brandon is back again to do that and facilitate that. Happy hour later tonight. Game night later tonight. There's some special sessions in here. We have a robotics session that Emily Davis is going to give. Misty Robots will be in the back. There's a couple after-hour sessions. Brandon has a session for the kids. Greg's doing something. So a number of things going on just tonight. We started a day with the 5K, so the 5K and yoga. So one of the things that we added this year was more mindfulness, meditation, yoga. Well, funny story. I should tell you the funny story, because this is how it all kind of came about. So last year, Wednesday, I was walking from our place to the back of the convention center, and there were three ladies in the grassy knoll kind of behind the convention center, kind of a secluded, well, not so secluded, but if you went out those doors to where the construction area is, and there's these three ladies, laying on the ground. And so I'm walking, and I'm like, oh, I don't know. And then I noticed they were doing yoga, and I was quite relieved. So we ended up connecting with all three of them and brought yoga here, not only for those who want to do yoga, but to teach it. And so every morning along with the 5K is a yoga session, not with the 5K, but in a room. And although that'd be pretty interesting to see somebody do yoga while running. And there's a session in the afternoons as well for the kids and everybody. We're always here to help. Mobile apps, good. Thank you to everybody who's been involved with that. And so I would say the next 365 days start today. Think about your journey for the next 3 days. What do you want to get out of it? What sessions do you want to go to? Don't like the session? Get up and go to another one. That's fine. Think about open spaces. Put yourself out there. Ask the question. Be involved. Participate. Put your laptop up on the screen. Share. Let's use this time together to leverage all the connections that are here and set that example for the kids and spouses. They're running around. They're back here and over there and whatever. Realize that they all look up to us as the example and the hero. Enough of me talking. Oh, nope, I lie. Glad I had a little bit of a plan. You know, when we started this, I would have never imagined that we would have made it this long. Trying to finance this thing and run it is difficult. It is a very stressful activity. And with that, we engage a lot of sponsors to help. And I need your help, not only thanking them and talking to them and hearing what their story is, but also helping us find new ones and people who actively want to be involved. Here's a set of our top sponsors that have all helped pay your way to get to camp. It just would be impossible without them, as this exists. Okay, keynotes. We've been bullish on always having a keynote. We've been bullish on not like somebody coming up here and talking about the next JavaScript framework or the next whatever thing that hit. But really trying to tell a story, light a fire, remind you of why you started this journey. And so we look to inspire you. And when you ask somebody to say, I'd like you to try to inspire 1,100 people, that is a daunting, daunting task. We also look for people that are around here, right? There's all 4 of the keynotes this year. We will have a closing keynote too. Are relatively close to where we stand today. Not as close as the cornfields and the water slides, but close. Today we're going to kick off our next 3 days. Jessica's going to kick us off and tell a story that I think is pretty cool. And I don't want to say any more about it. She is super cool. I love everything that she's doing and stands for, and I'm happy to give the stage to her. But before we welcome her, all of you need to come find a chair, because I know you want to hear this. So come on in. We got seats. Well, there's a few. Yeah, if you have a seat at your table, raise your hand real quick so we can get everybody in here and sat down. There we go. Look at that. We got plenty of seats open. Okay. With that being said, because I didn't want to disrupt Jessica, with that being said, let's all give a warm round of applause for Jessica Kerr.
Thanks, Clark.